You need to speak up on the son.
No! No! Oh, you say he's not? No! Let's go! Say Keith! No! Say! No! No! Say! It's a Saturday.
All right, hello there, RCW fans, and thank you so much for tuning in here to this update. And I was showing you a couple of minutes of Keith Lee actually versus Brandon Collins from, gosh, what had to been, I don't know, probably like 2010, somewhere around there. Anyways. The reason why I was showing that footage at the beginning was just so I could sort of get ready and make sure everybody is watching. There's a good amount of people watching right now. But that footage actually, I'm just going to give you a little heads up on it. So I was contacted by WWE to give them Keith Lee footage. So I don't understand. I'm sure that means something, that they're going to do some sort of Keith Lee special on WWE Network, I would assume, or something of the like. But they did request some Keith Lee footage, and so look for that on WWE Network. Maybe you'll see some of that on there. But anyway, I want to thank all the RCW fans for joining me for this update. As you can see, I got my RC. This is an original RCW shirt, by the way. You know, if I think about RCW, and one of the things I think about is the tenure and the longevity and how much passion we put into RCW. This shirt actually right here, it's actually signed by Mick Foley. I don't know if you could see the Sacco on there, but this is an original RCW shirt. I remember making these shirts with my father-in-law in the garage of his house because these are what you call the silk screen. So I remember actually doing like the the silk screening press. And so this is an original shirt. It was signed by Mick Foley. And again, it just talks about the longevity of RCW and how much of my personal life I've put into it. RCW fans, I've have greatly missed you. I love you very much, and we've grown up together. RCW has ran an event every year since 2002. If you think about it, that's an incredible amount of time. Back in 2002, that was just the first show was a little bit after 9/11 took place. George W. Bush was in office. I think movies like Gladiator and stuff had just come out. So, I mean, 2002 is a long time. And every year we've ran at least one event. Many years we've ran monthly events. In many years we've ran, events 2 or 3 times in a given month. So obviously, a great deal of passion and our person comes out. I wear RCW on my chest, and I don't have anything really prepared for today. Like, I just wanted to speak from the heart. I wear RCW on my chest. When I go out to the San Antonio community, I love it when I hear, "Hey, RCW," or "Hey, boom, boom." And it happens everywhere. It embarrasses my daughter and, my family a little bit. But, when we go to the grocery store, or when we go out to eat, when we go somewhere, I'm always running into RCW fans here in San Antonio, and I can't tell you what that means to me, because I grew up as an only child, a latchkey kid, and I know what wrestling meant to me growing up. It was my everything, as you could tell. For those of you that haven't watched Remarkable Wrestling Podcast yet, this is my wall of markdom behind me. And you can see so many of the great moments, and how many of the great moments I got to have in RCW. For example, having Mick Foley in 2009 to sign this shirt. I know everybody wanted Boom Boom to go through a table. Well, I kept a piece of the table, and you can actually see Abyss signed it for me. He was nice enough to sign it for me. But this is a fragment from the same table that Abyss put me through back at the brewery. And then, of course, you see some of the wrestlers that have been through here. There's me dressed up in Colt Cabana's Boom Boom gear, and then, of course, the guitar that Jeff Jarrett hit me over the head with, basically saying this guitar did not like me, and I kept it in. There's no backing at all to this guitar. It's completely flat. So anyway, so many great memories and so many great times. And RCW definitely was going through a little bit of a change over the past couple of years. And I have to say, they were probably, the most, fun years, actually. And unfortunately, the pandemic hit right when we were doing things like the Young Gun series, and kind of doing some different things that we've always wanted to try. And that includes partnerships with other entities. You've seen us partner, bring in, collaborate with Ring of Honor for a meet and greet. You've seen us work with Impact Wrestling a couple times already. And so we were definitely opening the door, and definitely that was a different thing than in the early days of RCW, when we were an island to ourselves, and you were RCW for life, basically, or RCW forever. But we were opening those doors, and the pandemic hit, and we had to take a break. We've looked into doing virtual shows. Unfortunately, the product that I want to present in terms of RCW is a family product, to where it reminds me of when I was a kid. It reminds me of when I went to the shows, or when I dragged my poor mom to the shows. And I wanted to instill that feeling. I think when we do a virtual show, as good as it is, and we could, create all sorts of talent, all sorts of stories for virtual, it misses the most important part, which is you. You got to have the fans. You got to have the fans cheering, booing, You got to have the interaction, and without the fans, to me, wrestling is a lot harder to get behind. And I feel that from RCW on up. Um, so I think I, definitely could not run shows out of safety concerns for you guys, for the talent as well. I did want to say that we are not going to run an event the remainder of this year. And we are going to extend the break a little bit into 20 and 21. Now, I'm not giving an exact time frame of return, because the reason why is because when I want to come back, I want to make sure that RCW is bigger and better and stronger and more exciting than ever. And we're working on some plans in the background to make that a reality. And when that thing becomes a reality, I want you to come along for the ride. I don't want you to be watching from home. I want you to be there in attendance. So we are extending the break. I'm fully aware that there's some other wrestling promotions out there that are running, with limited audiences, or even, like a drive-in style. Um, and I applaud those promotions for those efforts, because I know what probably a logistic nightmare it must be to make that a reality. So I have complete respect for them. And so when RCW comes back in 2021, and again, I'm not listing a date, but when it comes back, it's going to be stronger and it's going to be bigger than ever. I'm in a different place in my life, and the pandemic break definitely showed me a lot of things. It was a much needed break. When you think about that, babies that were born in 2002 are now graduating from high school, and that was the year I started RCW. It's nice to sit there and say, let's take a little break. And I'm not going to lie, I took advantage of the pandemic to take that break, to kind of recharge my batteries, to kind of sit there and let the other promotions around here in San Antonio and Texas do their thing. And they're doing a great job, honestly. Like I said, I'm just in a different place in my life where I'm a little bit more peaceful. And I want to enjoy these things with you. I look at you as my family. You've seen so much of me through 18 years. A lot of you are following me on Facebook and things like that. And you follow me through RCW stuff. You follow me through personal stuff. And I thank you for that. I will never forget that. And so that's why I say 2021, we will come back. I'm not giving a definite date at this time, but we will come back bigger and stronger, and all that good stuff. You're going to really enjoy it, and I want to take that ride with you. I did want to remind you to please watch Remarkable Wrestling Podcast. That is something that I'm also pouring a lot of my heart into. We've had some really great guests, including tomorrow. We will have Rebel, who you all know, former women's champion, and just a lovely person, inside and out. And so we will have Rebel on, and it's a lot of fun because I don't do like okay, Rebel, okay, Molly Holly. We've had Molly Holly on. We've had Coco Beware, Shelly Martinez. Okay, Coco Beware. Let's start from the very beginning. Tell me where you're born. Tell me who broke you into the business. It's not like that. What we do is we go over some of the really fun items that they've collected, kind of like that I am. All right, stuff that unites us as wrestling fans, and we just talk about it. We talk about and it could be gear, it could be I don't know, a poster that they kept or anything like that. So if you go back and look at some of the old episodes, you're going to find some really, really good stuff with Coco Beware, Molly Holly, Shelly Martinez, and tomorrow will be Rebel. And there's a lot more coming. I do one every 2 weeks, and there's a lot of names that are attached to this, and that want to do it. And we just haven't made a date yet or whatever. But we're going to continue to do that, and it's a lot of fun. And then also, for those of you that don't know, I'm a huge Jimmy Fallon fan. I love the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. I think it's hilarious. I've always wanted to host my own talk show and things like that. So I live vicariously. And so one of the things that I do with my guests is that we play a game. We've done Wrestling Pictionary, we've done 5-second summaries and things like that. And so I got to sing a duet with Coco Beware on singing Burr, Burr, Bird. Just fun things. And it's not a long podcast. I know there's a lot of podcasts out there that are super long with 2 hours, and it's not that long. And so it's a lot of fun. So I'm doing the Remarkable Wrestling podcast. Look for that every other Sunday, including tomorrow with Rebel. And then you never know where Boom Boom may pop up or what Boom Boom may do for the fans. But again, I am extending the break. It is by no means goodbye, because I'm only, God, what am I, 42, 43, something like that? I know I'm old. But anyway, I got a lot of life to live. And so I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm going to enjoy it with y'all and my family. And when RCW comes back in 2021, whatever that may be, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have fun. So, that's the update for today. Again, I want to thank you so much. And actually, I'll take some of your questions because I actually saw in the chat room here that there are some questions. How did you decide on the name River City Wrestling? I like, you ever hear, it's funny, if you go back and watch, that MTV, True Life, Want to Be a Wrestler, Les Thatcher says he likes things with an R and with a roar. And of course, the San Antonio community is known for being a river city, or the San Antonio River. And I just kind of put it all together. Originally, I had thought about, because I went to school in San Marcos, Texas. I went to Texas State. And so when I was a senior at Texas State, that's when I started RCW super early. I didn't have, this is just total aside, and I do not recommend this for anyone that's going to run a promotion, because you have to have capital. You have to have money to run a promotion. When I was a senior, I dived right into it. And actually, a lot of the shows I thought about doing them up in Austin. We did some shows in Austin, actually, in the very, very early days of RCW. But of course, I moved back to San Antonio, and that's where I met, had a family, and created my life. And so RCW stayed San Antonio specific, I would say, from 2005 on. So that was how we came up with the name RCW. Let's see. Sean Connor says, I'm scared to go through another table and don't want to be another casket match. Hey, some of those are the best moments ever in RCW history. I think my favorite is actually when The Godfather came to RCW, and I got a little bit of trouble, with the spouse when I decided to partake in The Godfather's clan of ladies, if you will, and so. Yeah, that was a lot of fun, and having my spouse give me a good comeuppance, and that was a lot of fun. Norma says, "Hope of Glory days are the best." They were, and I'm very fond of them. And who knows? Maybe one day we will be back into the Hope of Glory just for a fun show, just to do something that's kind of out of the norm and a little bit of a throwback. Any new venues for RCW shows? So our game plan over the last maybe 4 years, 5 years or so has been to run venues throughout San Antonio. We do understand how big San Antonio is and how spacious it is. And we do know that a lot of our fans do things like take the bus to get to our shows and things like that. And so we have to be aware of that. We're trying to find some other venues that, are on the south side of town, that, of course, we have the Northwest and the Northeast kind of covered and things like that. So we try to kind of, look for different places in town for you to, to make it more convenient. So, but that's why we never really, we stuck with one place at times during RCW, but over the last like 4 years, I just wanted to keep it moving around. Robin asks, do I have any RCW merchandise for sale? So there's a wonderful website called ProWrestlingTees.com. And let me see if I can pop up the banner real quick. ProWrestlingTees.com. And for those of you that have never been to the website, period, they have basically anyone that's not in WWE, whether it's a legend from the past or contemporary, has a t-shirt shop on ProWrestlingTees.com. It's super cool. A lot of the shirts that I wear on Remarkable Wrestling Podcast come from ProWrestlingTees.com. But yes, RCW does have a store, and I'm going to put that up right now, ProWrestlingTees.com /RCW forever. And here's the cool thing about Pro Wrestling Tees, guys, is that they do a very cool thing for the talent and for the promotions out there, because it's hard sometimes for talent that are independent, not under contract, especially for the up and comers and for the independent promotions to sometimes invest and reinvest. And so Pro Wrestling Tees makes it a lot easier for so many of the talent. And what happens is that money that goes to buying a talent's t-shirt or buying an RCW t-shirt on ProWrestlingTees.com, that goes to the talent. And I can't tell you, when you're a small business, or and being a wrestler is being a small business, and a promotion is a small business, how much that helps. So when you guys buy the shirts, I do realize that there is a cost, and it's because Pro Wrestling Tees takes their cut. But the thing about it is that money on top of what Pro Wrestling Tees takes their cut from goes straight to the wrestler, and it's so beneficial to everyone when you do that. So please, ProWrestlingTees.com. Even if you don't want to get an RCW shirt, you already have. I'm going to try to see if I can make some more designs and put them up there. But yeah, if you buy the ProWrestlingTees.com shirts, it goes a long way. Let's see, what is my favorite wrestling YouTuber? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't really watch a lot of YouTube, but I am a big Bruce Pritchard fan, and something to wrestle. And actually, that's kind of where I get some inspirational stuff for a Remarkable Wrestling Podcast. And so, that's kind of why I tend to, like that show and see what they're doing and all that. But again, I just want to reiterate, I'm just kind of looking through the chat real quick, guys. Someone said how I miss being a part of the RCW familia. That's exactly right. We are a family. What a classic t-shirt. Yep. And again, that's what I'm talking about. Like, y'all don't realize how much effort and work it takes to running a wrestling promotion, especially from someone that's as hands-on as I am, that is driving the ring truck sometimes, and that is doing a lot of the grunt work and is in the shop actually silk screening a shirt and things like that. I think wrestling fans see the end game, the outcome of all that work, and sometimes forget what goes on behind the scenes. If you're a $1 billion company, you have a crew of hundreds, and you're okay. Usually, when you're a small independent, you're using all of your sick and vacation days to take care of things, and that's kind of the reality. So I'm not going to lie and say that I haven't enjoyed the break. I have. I definitely miss you guys, but I'm enjoying the break, and it's needed after 18 years. There's a lot of gray forming in this beard and in this hair, and so I needed a small break for the time being. I think I did see this question from Kevin. Any independent stars you have never hosted that you would like to in 2021 and beyond? Yes, there are a lot. I was kind of set in my ways. That's why I say, like, I went through several phases. I was kind of set in my ways for a while. And then over the last few years, we started using more like independent stars, independent names. And, it's definitely added another element to it. So, yes, there are people that we are looking at. But again, I don't want to say it's this guy, this girl, because we don't have a firm date yet in 2021. As we get closer to, okay, there's a vaccine out, people are, going out, WWE has bringing in crowds, NBA is bringing in crowds, so on and so forth, movie theaters that are 100%, so on and so forth. And things, go back to normal. I want you to be a part of it. I could run a virtual show. That's not a thing. I want you to be a part of it. So, as we get closer to those dates, I'll definitely, take care of it. And Sean Connor says the Hardy Boys. So, little known facts: the Hardy Boys were very close to being in RCW at one point. There were talks, and then the talks kind of ceased. And the reason why they ceased is because I watched WrestleMania and them come back. But shortly before that, we were talking with the Hardy Boys about bringing in at least one, if not both of them. So, I would definitely that's definitely on my list of all times is the Hardy Boys, and it was very close to happening. So, who knows? Who knows what the future may hold? I would have never thought we had Mick Foley and Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Jim Ross and Tatanka and Jake the Snake and Jeff Jarrett and so on and so forth, and all the names that we brought down. Sergeant Slaughter, $1 Million Man, blah blah blah. Just it keeps going on and on. And that's one of the. I'm gonna be honest when I say this. The most rewarding part of doing the shows, because damn, they take a lot of work. Damn, they take a lot of effort. But one of the most important parts of doing events is when you guys get to meet your heroes. It's phenomenal. I liken it to I don't know. I don't know if I can liken it to anything because I don't know if there's an experience like it. I guess I just enjoy watching it so much when you guys interact with your heroes and the guys that you grew up watching, the girls you grew up watching, and I enjoy that. Sometimes it brings a tear to my eye depending on the interaction because it's really good. But that is by far the best is when that happens. Let's see. Who would I like to bring to RCW again? There's a ton of guys. There's the Hardy Boys. There's Scott Hall. There's so many great independent talents as well that I would love to bring into RCW. Kevin asked, would love to see a potential partnership with RCW and NWA in the future. Yes, I would love to work with the NWA. One of the things that changed over the years for me was just opening my heart up a little bit. And so, that might be criticized as being soft or whatever, but I've seen collaborative efforts outside of wrestling in terms of my professional life. And I've seen the advantages of them. And, especially as I'm getting older, those partnerships are becoming more valuable. So there are definitely some people that I would love to work with. Like we've already done Impact and Ring of Honor. I would love to do NWA and really, just about any promotion, I would love to work with. There's several great ones here in San Antonio and Texas. And I think part of my taking a break is honestly a little bit of that, because I look around at some of the wrestling promotions, and there's a lot of them, but they're doing great things, and they're using these great kids that are coming up now. I tell you, I showed Keith Lee at the very beginning, but I mean, look back at the history of RCW. At how many guys have been in an RCW ring very earlier in the careers, way before they got WWE, TNA, AEW. It's amazing. I mean, start with, Hernandez and LAX. You got Lance Hoyt, Lance Archer in AEW now, and he had stint WWE. Keith Lee is, now tearing it up in WWE. There's Ray Rowe, who's now in WWE. There's Gerard St. Christopher, also known as Biff Busick, who's now in NXT. We've had a young lady named Victoria, who now wrestles as Raquel up in NXT. We've just had, we've had Sammy Guevara. He was a guy that held two belts at the same time in RCW, and now he's tearing it up in AEW. So there's a lot of, there was a lot of young talent, and I'm seeing a lot of young talent now that are well ahead of the game. I think it's because of their trainers. A lot of them are coming from Booker T school and things like that, and hybrid, and and just, so there's, they're getting taught the right way, and I think the business has changed for the better. I think it's less of the give me your money, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you type of training, and because of that, I honestly think that the talent, in terms of their athleticism, is incredible. So there's a lot of promotions around San Antonio and Texas that are using that young talent, and should be using them to the maximum of their abilities. Because I do see that some of the young talent that you saw on the Young Gun show and things like that, as being those guys 5-10 years from now that are on the major stage. Just like if you go back to 2010, 2005, a little bit earlier than that, and you see, oh, there's Keith Lee, there's Ray Rowe, there's Hernandez, there's, Lance Hoyt, there's Sammy Guevara, and, so it's really cool to see that. And I believe that they're doing that. What do you think the best way a wrestler to approach a new promotion is? Approach it like it's a job. I'm paying you. Think of it like this. If you were moving your house, or you were moving houses, and you had a big TV set, all right, and you're paying your movers, and your movers are coming in, and you're like, hey, I want you to make sure that you take care of that TV set, and I want to make sure that when we go to the new house, that you place it in the living room on top of the, or onto the mount or whatever. That's what I want. You tell the movers that, and, you hand them the money. And then you get to the new location, and the TV is cracked, and the TV is placed in the kitchen, and, you're going to be pretty upset because you spent that money on movers that clearly did not listen to you. Even if the movers themselves are questioning some of the things that you're doing, or some of the things that you're asking, in terms of maybe they feel, it's better in the master bedroom to put the TV in there. There's certainly some give and take in terms of that. As far as listening, as far as engaging and things like that. But one of the most important things is, man, this is a job. And whether you're paid $5 or $500 or $5,000, someone's paying you. In addition, all the people that are sitting in their chairs paid to come in and watch wrestling too. And so what they want is, they want to experience that, maybe for the older, people like myself, they want to experience going back to when they were a kid and having a very positive and pleasant experience. And for the new fans, this is their opportunity to see you. I got to be honest with the local talent. Outside of the regulars, you know, I mean, San Antonio is one of the top 10 most populated cities in the United States. And if you think about the percentage of people that actually know who you are, um, it's going to be pretty low. And I'd say that lovingly because you're in a place where you are honing your craft and getting your name out there. And someone is paying you to do it. Someone is paying you to watch it. And so you have to respect that. You know, if you're coming in, you should be, you should be well. I think you should be dressed nicely. I think you should be present yourself in a professional manner. I think you should have your gear ready, washed, and ready to go. Your merchandise ready to go if you have it. If you don't, that's fine too. And I think you should take your cues from the promoter and booker, and try to listen to what those guys are telling you. Because sometimes they may stretch you out of your comfort zone, and sometimes they may challenge you, and sometimes they see what you're doing over in the ABC promotion, and they want to get their hands on you so they can do something with you that they're not. And it's important to sit there and say, like, okay, I'm going to try it, right? And generally speaking, it's going to work. If it doesn't work, that's fine. Talk about the promoter or booker, and move on from there. But you should have faith. There should be a time when you're getting to know people and getting to market yourself. You are a business, local wrestlers. You got to think about that. Again, someone's paying you. I don't care if it's $5. I don't care if it's $50. Someone's paying you, and someone's paying to come in and watch. So, you have to develop that good relationship with your promoter and booker. You have to have faith in the system. You have to be professional, and, and to sit there and hash out your issues. Some issues will never be fixed. I have those, I'm sure you could probably guess, with some individuals. But, be willing to sit there and say, hey, uh, I didn't agree with this part, or I don't, I want to tweak this. And if you sit down and you hash it out and you have an open mind, it should go well most of the time. All right. Speaking of NWA, what about ROH collaboration? So we did a collaboration with Ring of Honor where they had canceled their show and did an autograph session. We got in touch with them, and ended up doing that autograph session. And I don't know if you remember that, but quite a few talents were a part of that. And so, yeah, absolutely, I would love to do something with Ring of Honor. Got to catch a Rotoma show if you run any more of them. I missed this. I love Rotoma Park. Rotoma is one of my favorite venues of all time. I would love to see AEW and RCW work together. Would love to do that too. Will RCW tickets ever be available in a physical store? Tune in to 2021 because, like I said, there are a lot of things that I'm working on, and that would have more engagement with you. So stay tuned on that. Do you have a favorite match you promoted for RCW? Was there a match that genuinely surprised you? So yeah, tons. All right. But one of the ones that come to my mind, especially with the footage I was showing Keith Lee, because I had that on hand. But one of my favorite matches of all time is Super Max Hernandez and Keith Lee. It took place at the Hope of Glory Church. And for those of you that remember the Hope of Glory days, there's no way we can run that in a pandemic. I mean, because it was a small little church hall. Everybody was on top of everybody. And so many great memories and things happen. The venue itself was questionable, and even the talent, they had to change in a tent and things like that, and but we made it work, and that was what was so special about it. But anyway, there was a match with Hernandez and Keith Lee, and this is when Joe Reinagle from Kent's Five was a part of things, and he was feuding with me over control of RCW, and he was the special guest referee of that match. And I just remember the crowd being so into it, watching two incredibly gifted wrestlers. Joe Reinagle was such a natural. And it's so good at being a bad guy, and and working with him and telling the story of that match. I'll try to look for it now that I have some time. That's one of the things is I want to go through some of these old tapes. I mean, guys, I have stuff like back into like 2003 that I haven't seen the light of day, um, forever. And so I was recently challenged to find a lot of this old footage, and so I would like to share that with you guys. So be on the lookout for that. I'll post some of this old stuff out there, and you can check it out. So my update was a lot longer than I expected. And so again, I just want to reiterate, please watch the Remarkable Wrestling Podcast. It's a lot of fun. Next one is tomorrow with Rebel. And look for us in 2021. We do not have a timetable to return. We are extending the break, and we want you guys to be a part of it. So with that in mind, I am going to go ahead and close out this update. And again, I want to thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in 2021. And we'll see you tomorrow for Remarkable Wrestling Podcast.